Bolt fam, tonight the conversation is real. In the middle of scares, relief, potential smart reinforcements, outside pressure circling this coaching staff, and a franchise legend rewriting history, something bigger is being built in Los Angeles. There's a delicate situation with a key offensive piece. There's a move on the table that screams contender. There's a serious threat hovering over the Chargers' long-term project. And there's a powder blue icon proving exactly why this locker room still believes. You're not going to believe what we've got for you today, so get comfortable, drop a like, and let's get straight into it, because this could change everything. If there's one moment that made every Chargers fan hold their breath in primetime, it was that scene with Orande Gadsden II on Sunday Night Football, when the rookie weapon went down and stayed down. A guy who'd been on an absolute tear, quickly turning into one of Justin Herbert's most trusted options, suddenly limping off, listed with a knee issue, and the entire fan base doing the same tired mental math. Here we go again. Another key piece gone, same old Chargers luck. Social media went straight into panic mode. People were already talking season-ending injury, structural damage, months out, game plan shredded, but this time, the script flipped in our favor. The MRI results came back, and instead of disaster, the news was as close to perfect as it gets. No ligament tear, no structural nightmare, no see you next year. He's day-to-day with a quad bruise near the knee. It sounds minor, and competitively, it is massive. It means the offensive plan Harbaugh and Greg Roman have been building with him in the slot, attacking mismatches against slower linebackers and hesitant safeties, stays intact. It means the chemistry with Herbert, cultivated drive after drive, isn't being thrown in the trash. Even if he sits out against Jacksonville as a precaution, there's a bye week right after to reset and come back fresh for the stretch run. Before the Pittsburgh game, Gadsden had posted 4 straight games with over 68 receiving yards, becoming that clutch third down answer, that midfield presence that tilts coverages and forces defensive coordinators to respect the seams. Lose him, and you're ripping out a big piece of the passing identity. The reaction said it all. Pure fear when he went down, pure relief when the report dropped, and inside the building, the message is just as clear. In a season where injuries have turned into a running joke at our expense, this time the lightning dodged the storm. That is not a detail, that's a sign. Because if the luck is finally starting to turn, there's one very specific move this front office needs to consider right now to make sure this offense stays upright. And if out of caution he does miss a game, you still have veterans like Will Dissly and Tyler Conklin ready to handle snaps, secure the flat, help in protection, and keep the system functioning without panic. That's what serious teams do. But exactly because this scare exposed how fragile things can get, it also exposed a truth no one around this franchise can ignore. One crack in protection, one collapse on the edge, and all of this can fall apart, which is exactly where a certain under-the-radar name becomes impossible to ignore. When you talk about truly protecting this offense, one name makes way too much sense to pretend it's not there: Tyre Phillips. And this is the kind of move that separates teams that just talk like contenders from those that act like contenders. The situation is brutally simple. The Chargers are one injury away from chaos at offensive tackle. One off night, one bad twist, and Herbert's pocket turns into a war zone again. That cannot be acceptable in a Harbaugh operation. Phillips is sitting right there on the Cleveland Browns practice squad, fully available to any team willing to sign him to the 53-man roster. And let's be honest, his profile is not camp body. He's a former third-round pick, with real experience as a starter for the Ravens and Giants, close to 50 games and over 25 starts, mostly at right tackle, with the size and functional strength you want on the edge. 6'5", around 330, battle-tested against legit NFL pass rushers. More importantly, he knows exactly what it's like to be thrown into chaos midseason and hold up. That's not projection, that's resume. Strategically, this checks every box. First, cost. No trade compensation, no bloated contract, no long-term cap anchor. It's classic low risk, potentially high impact. Second, role. He walks in as a true swing tackle, capable of playing on either side, stabilizing depth, allowing smarter rotations, and preventing the nightmare scenario of a completely green backup being asked to survive 4 quarters against an elite edge. That doesn't just look better on a depth chart, it lets the offensive coordinator sleep at night. Third, message. A signing like this screams to Herbert, "We've got you," and tells the fan base, "We see the problem and we're proactive." It's not a flashy headline signing, but it is exactly the move championship-level organizations make. And under Harbaugh, a coach who believes football is won in the trenches, this kind of veteran addition fits the identity perfectly. Phillips is not a fantasy football star, he's a protector, A physically imposing, experienced answer who can slip into powder blue and immediately understand the assignment, keep the franchise quarterback clean and the season alive. If the Chargers are serious about playing meaningful football in January, this is the type of precise adjustment that has to be on the table. Because this offense only breathes when the pocket is stable, and right now, one of the smartest ways to guarantee that is hiding in Cleveland, waiting for a team with real ambition to make a move. While the fan base exhaled over Gadsden and debated moves like Phillips as a necessary upgrade, another storyline quietly turned into a serious warning shot. The New York Giants fired Brian Daboll. And that decision, on the surface distant, suddenly dragged the Chargers right into the center of the conversation. Because when a job like that opens up, every franchise looking for a reset starts scanning the league for the next leader. And one of the names that naturally jumps into that discussion is Jesse Minter. The same Jesse Minter who followed Harbaugh from Michigan, took over a defense many had written off, and turned it into one of the most disciplined, efficient units in the NFL. Front offices notice that, owners notice that. The league doesn't sleep on coaches who build top-tier defenses without living on reckless blitz calls. Minter's profile is exactly what franchises in chaos crave. Young, sharp, detailed, with a proven blueprint, and the calm presence to stabilize a locker room. Combine the Giants' desire to pivot identity with the Titans moving on from Brian Callahan, plus other potential openings lurking, and suddenly the market for head coaches gets crowded and aggressive. That's where the danger lies for the Chargers. Losing Minter wouldn't just mean replacing a coordinator, it would mean ripping out one of the core architects of this new era. This defense is not operating on vibes, it's operating on structure, communication, leverage, disguise, trust. You don't just plug and play that. You don't accidentally find another mind perfectly synced with Harbaugh's vision. As this unit stacks strong performances, as they clamp down in coverage and show growth even through run-stopping struggles, Minter's stock keeps climbing. That's the tax of being good in the NFL. When you finally get it right, other teams start circling. For Chargers fans, this is the bittersweet reality. You want the league to respect what's being built, but you also know that respect comes with risk. The conversation in Los Angeles has to start now. How do you protect the continuity of this project? Can you build a succession plan? Do you find ways financially and structurally to convince Minter that staying one more year in powder blue is part of something even bigger? Because make no mistake, as long as this defense keeps delivering, his name will sit near the top of every shortlist. The good news is simple. Right now, he's here, fully locked in, and the focus remains on this season. And while that cloud hangs over the horizon, something happened on the field that reminded everyone exactly why this franchise still has a heartbeat that refuses to fade. In the middle of all this uncertainty, one truth cut through everything. Keenan Allen just cemented his legacy forever. Under the lights against Pittsburgh, he passed none other than Antonio Gates to become the Chargers' all-time leader in receptions. That alone is historic, but the way it happened said even more. It wasn't some bomb down the sideline. It wasn't a highlight reel circus catch. It was a simple pop pass underneath 7 yards, clean, efficient, almost understated, which is exactly what makes it perfect. That play sums up who Keenan Allen has always been for this franchise. Reliability, intelligence, technician-level precision, and a competitor who shows up every single time. With Gates in the building, watching, applauding, and openly saying there's nobody else he'd rather see break his record, the moment instantly became bigger than a stat. It became a passing of the torch. For years, through coaching changes, different systems, tough stretches, and endless outside noise, Allen has been the steady pulse of this offense. Through the Phillip Rivers era into the Justin Herbert era, he's been the bridge, a living link between generations of Chargers football. When he hit that milestone, it wasn't just a number on a graphic. It was a statement about loyalty and excellence in a league that doesn't forgive inconsistency. Social media erupted, teammates saluted him, analysts praised his route-running masterclass, and inside that locker room, there was nothing but respect. Harbaugh's comments echoed what everyone already knew. You don't often see a player so polished, so competitive, and still so hungry this deep into his career. That attitude bleeds into the rest of the roster. Young receivers watch him, Herbert trusts him, defenders understand they're practicing against a standard every week. Keenan Allen didn't just take a record from a Hall of Famer. He strengthened the spine of this team's identity. As long as 13 is lining up locked in, there will always be one more third down conversion, one more impossible catch on the boundary, one more reason for the Bolt fam to believe that this offense has an answer. In a season full of twists, that kind of leadership isn't a luxury, it's the anchor. And seeing him stand atop the record books in powder blue was a reminder the Lightning still carries legends. Put all of this together and you can feel it. The energy around the Chargers is shifting. A terrifying injury scare turns into relief and renewed belief in a breakout rookie. A smart physical reinforcement sits one phone call away, perfectly aligned with a win-in-the-trenches mentality. A rising defensive mastermind becomes a target across the league, proof that what's being built in Los Angeles is real enough to scare other franchises. And a franchise icon, Keenan Allen, etches his name even deeper into history and shows this locker room what long-term greatness looks like. This team isn't just surviving, it's evolving. So here's the question for you, Bolt fam. Which of these stories best defines this new Chargers era taking shape right in front of us? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and let's ride this moment together. Because if the signs we're seeing Hoje si conformarum, the Lightning in Los Angeles is just getting started.